Thank you, Chairman Velasquez, and thank you, members of the committee, for this opportunity to testify on HUD's proposal to amend RESPA. As the Madam Chairman mentioned, my name is Gary Kermott, and I am serving as the 2008 President of the American Land Title Association. As such, I'm speaking on behalf of our nearly 3,000 title insurance companies, agents, abstractors, escrow officers, and attorneys who search, examine, insure land titles, and perform real estate closings. A majority of our members are small businesses with between 2 and 16 employees. Although we agree with HUD on its goals, we are concerned that the proposal will not achieve them and may indeed create problems that undermine HUD's efforts. In addition, the association believes the department is attempting, by regulation, to convert a statutory disclosure regime into a new pricing regime that was not intended by Congress and is not authorized by the statute. We address that in our written statement. My remarks today will focus on 3 areas of the rule that would be most harmful to our small business members and consumers. First, the closing script. Second, how our fees are disclosed. And third, volume discounts and tolerances. First, the closing script. The closing script will lead to longer and postponed closings, loss of down payments, and increased litigation, while failing to provide any real benefit to consumers. Why? First, it's too late at closing for consumers to change the terms of their loan. The moving van is parked outside. Second, the settlement agent doesn't have the information or the knowledge to answer questions raised by the closing script. Third, the increased costs for longer closings will fall on the consumer. In some states, it will raise the issue, as mentioned earlier, of the unauthorized practice of law. But more importantly, for our small business members, HUD fails to recognize that over 50% of closings occur at the end of the month. This increased time to complete, read, and explain the closing script will definitely and disproportionately harm smaller settlement companies because they lack the resources to add personnel and physical space to accommodate these extended closings. The script should be completed and delivered by the lender earlier in the process so that the consumer understands their loan terms and has the opportunity to negotiate changes. Title and closing fee disclosures. Although one of HUD's key objectives is to simplify and improve consumer disclosures, how our fees are disclosed on the new forms is misleading and will discourage consumer shopping for services that are in their best interests. Why? Because the new GFE only discloses an aggregate figure for a range of services. That makes it more difficult for the consumer to shop for individual title or closing services at a lower price. They won't know what is included in the package. Similarly, by lumping together so many different charges into the category of primary title services on the new HUD 1, the buyer and seller will not know how their funds were actually dispersed and to which providers. This defeats a primary purpose of the HUD 1 as a record of the transaction. This will also hide what fees the seller may have negotiated or be required to pay under state law, practice, or contract. Volume discounts and tolerances. Volume discounts are anti-competitive and will harm small title insurance companies, small banks, mortgage brokers, appraisers, and other small settlement providers. The largest companies have the resources to either favor their own affiliated companies or create a network of preferred providers that could offer services below cost. This will push small independent providers out of business, resulting in less competition and higher prices. Our members don't believe HUD should dictate such changes. Because lender-recommended services are subject to a 10% tolerance, the message to the borrower will be, go with me, you'll get a better deal. By emphasizing these guaranteed prices to consumers, lenders would encourage a borrower selection of the recommended provider and end shopping. HUD even recognizes this in their economic analysis. Yet there is no guarantee that these recommended service providers are the least expensive or the best. This is a disguised form of packaging that was uniformly rejected in 2002. Based on these concerns, ALTA suggests that HUD limit its efforts to simplifying only the GFE and the HUD-1 so that comparisons can be more easily made between the documents. This would be a huge improvement for consumers without imposing extraordinary costs on small businesses. Thank you.